All right, so this video is going to be a little bit more ranty, and I'm just going to lay out all of my thoughts when it comes to this, because there has been some discourse between us Spurs fans on Twitter, or it's called X now, I guess. And dude, it's not good.
I want some nasty. Are we having fun yet?
All right, so let's talk about what Keldon Johnson said. I'm not going to bring up my merch or anything. Link in the description. Go check it out if you want to. But I just wanted to dive straight into this because this bothered me quite a bit today. Or it would have been yesterday now. I don't know. But so Keldon Johnson, this came out. This is from Tom Orsborn. Hopefully I said that right. Keldon on if it would be open, or if he would be open to a new role next season coming off the bench. And he said, yeah, I just want to win. Whatever I got to do to win, I am looking forward to that. So we'll see how it goes. He doesn't care. He doesn't care if he starts. He doesn't care if he comes off the bench. And that's that leadership that we really love from Keldon Johnson. And I tweeted something out, and I do want to look at these comments in a minute, but I tweeted something out in which I said Keldon off the bench makes the most sense. It just does to me, and I'll tell you why in a second. But there was some discourse here, man. Not only under my tweet, but under this tweet as well. Just people with difference of opinions when it comes to this. Alamo on the Rise here says Keldon Johnson should not have to come off the bench. And this is this notion of, I would say it's more 60-40 or maybe 70-30, 70% of Spurs fans thinking that he should, and about 30% saying there's no reason. He was the best player last year. And honestly, I don't really see where you're coming from with that one. Because here's my thing. I think it makes the most sense for Keldon to come off the bench. And it's not a matter of, oh, he's a trash player, so he goes on the bench. We're the Spurs, guys. We've had Manu Ginobili come off the bench. It's not a matter of he doesn't have to come off the bench. That's silly. No, there was no shooting guard that came after Manu Ginobili that was better than Manu Ginobili that should have started over Manu Ginobili. That's not the point. The point is what's best for this team and how it's structured. And as it stands right now, I can't really think of a good argument for Keldon Johnson starting. I can't. There's a few lineups that I would really like for instance, what I would really love, which probably isn't going to happen, is I would love for like Jeremy Sohan to run point. And then you have Devin Vassell, Julian, Wemby, and then Collins. I would love that. That's mwah, okay, but maybe that's more of a 2K roster, right? This is the real world. And we already know Wemby's going to be moved to the power forward position, right? And we know that Zach Collins is going to be center. But when it comes to Keldon, I can't even really make the argument. The only argument I could say for Keldon starting with the way that this team is structured is spacing. But even when it comes to three-point shooting, the last 2 months of last season were not great. He barely scraped 30%. I think the last season in March he did very well or fairly well. But before that, I mean, he was shooting like 14%. So I could make an argument that him and Jeremy Sohan could possibly space the floor at the same efficiency. It might be a little bit different now that we have Wemby, and I do think Keldon's going to benefit quite a bit from Wemby. But I don't know. I just think that in other aspects, as far as the defensively the defensive tenacity of Jeremy Sohan, when it comes to his playmaking, I really do believe that he should be on the court. I think that that's a really good guy to have on the court with Wemby. But with that being said, more than likely what Spurs do is Trey Jones, Vassell, Sohan, Wemby, Zach Collins. I don't see Wemby going all the way down to the center position. But just overall, man, I think Keldon Johnson, even his personality and what he brings to the Spurs, he's a energy guy. Like, I think it doesn't matter where you fit him, he's gonna have similar effects. I think him coming off the bench as like a six-man type player is huge for us. That's a big deal. And you bring him in after Sohan, and you bring him in after Vassell, and he just smacks the other team in the face off of the bench. I mean, it's going to just be non-stop energy all game long. Another reason, too, why I would start Sohan over Keldon if it came down to that is because who else is on the bench? We just signed a 3-year contract for your boy. Wait. Do I even have it up? What the? Where is it? Oh, God. I'm giving away my channel. I don't deserve this channel. What am I doing? Here it is. God, I didn't even have it up. God, cue, now, yes, cue it now. City Sissoko. So the Spurs just signed him to a 3-year deal, and they didn't do that for no reason. And I guarantee you, City Sissoko coming off the bench behind possibly Jeremy Sohan is huge. And I don't want both of these guys on the bench simultaneously because they have very similar games when it comes to utilizing their size and facilitation skills. Can they be on the bench or on the court together at the same time? Sure. But I just think rotational wise, it just makes more sense to go ahead and start Sohan and roll with that. And I also think Sohan and Wemby are going to be a really good 1-2 punch. And we need to see what we get out of those two players because I think that they have some of the most upside, them next to, Devin Vassell, obviously. So, yeah, I just don't necessarily see a lot of good arguments for starting Keldon. And as I said, the only one I could really think of is the shooting. Like, okay, he spaced the floor more or better than Wemby, or not Wemby, sorry, better than Jeremy Sohan. Does he? I don't know. Coming into the season, we'll wait and see. Because I mean, Sohan has had some good shooting percentages throughout the season here and there. Not the best. Okay, overall, not the best, but he's improved. So yeah, just overall, that's what I would roll with. Me personally, I think Keldon coming off the bench is perfect for the team, and it's not a detriment necessarily of him as a player. Like this comment right here, how does Keldon come off the bench? How does that make the most sense? KG's been the best player since DeJounte. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who's, the best player since DeJounte. I think that's kind of silly in and of itself. But overall, like, he's not. If Manu Ginobili can come off the bench, Keldon Johnson can come off the bench. That's all I got to say. All right. We can sit here and say, hey, those are the days of the old. I don't think so. Keldon has the same mentality as any other San Antonio Spur. And I think it makes a lot of sense for him to do that. And I would definitely, if it had to come down to him or Sohan, I would choose Sohan starting over Keldon for the structure of this team. But yeah, that's my thoughts. And honestly, another thing too, which I find very funny, is, and sometimes it's different types of Spurs fans that say this, but the whole notion, I think most of us agree that we get irritated. One thing about Popovich that we get irritated by, okay, because I love Pop, all right, but we get irritated by Popovich basically taking players and starting them or giving them significant amount of minutes only because they've been in the league for X amount of time, or they're more so veterans of the team, so they have to get those minutes. I never liked it. I think it's lame. That's like one of like two complaints I have about Popovich overall. He's still a GOAT. But that is one thing that I don't like. And I find it funny that some Spurs fans will still defend that, because that's basically what we're saying at this point. It's just, oh, he has more minutes or more time. He's earned it more. I don't want to hear any of that. All right. What's best for the team right now? And I think it's Jeremy Sohan starting over Keldon if it came down to that. Another thing that I would like as well, and then I'll get out of here, if this was a possibility, but it is not, because he's not this position, especially, primary position is not this. But if Wemby could move to center, I think that looks like a pretty good roster too. But I don't know. Then obviously Keldon Johnson fits in there. Then you would start Wemby, and I think it would make sense to go ahead and put Keldon Johnson in there. But overall, no. So just to sum it up, I think that's where my mind is like, we're probably going down to Sohan or Keldon. And the only argument for Keldon in my book is he spaced the floor better. But based on this last season, it wasn't that great. And, I think that the things that Sohan would bring next to Wemby is just much more valuable for the way the team is structured. So anyways, those are my thoughts. You let me know what you think. Sorry, it was like a rant, kind of just going off the rails a little bit. Not really, but I'll get with you guys later. Till next time. Bye.